I'm Michael Marsh. I'm CEO and founder of CRNA and Locum Jobs. I'm a practicing CRNA as well. I've been a CRNA for almost 10 years. I started out my career as a CRNA in 2016 at a university setting, and I practiced there for 7 or 8 years until I went full on with the locum company. In between then and when I started practicing as a CRNA, I did do some locum contracts and did locum work here in my home state of Arkansas. Locum is actually a Latin term for take one's place. So similar to travel nursing, this is travel for anesthesia providers, specifically for CRNAs. So what we can do is we will deploy CRNAs providers into these facilities who are seeking coverage for maybe 1 day, a week. Usually though, it's 3 months, 6 months, even up to 9 months. We provide coverage and contracts, and you may need anywhere from 1 provider up to 10 or 20 providers at your facility, and that's something we're able to do as a locum company. Being a locum has so many perks and benefits, and there's so much value in it outside of being a W-2 employee. Now, being a W-2 employee is really important for some people, depending on where they're located, maybe their family situation. But if you have the ability to be a locum, what that really does is open up the door for you being a 1099 contractor. So I think there's a common myth sometimes with locum and a 1099 contractor. While a locum usually is a 1099, there's also full-time positions as CRNAs, permanent positions that do pay 1099. And with that being said, you get the same benefits and perks from a tax standpoint, a deduction standpoint, as a locum provider. Outside of being a full-time permanent 1099 or a full-time permanent W-2, being a locum allows you to be extremely flexible with your schedule. So you can take off days when you want to, not when the facility needs you or has the availability for you to take off, and then being able to practice in different settings. So you can practice from independent, you can do ACT model, you can do supervised models, you can do OB only, there's pediatric opportunities. There's all these opportunities where you can go practice as a CRNA, use your skills that you were taught, and you can do that for 3 or 6 months, and you can go to the next facility. So it really opens up the door for you to actually utilize all the skills that you learned in school. And then I would say another huge perk and value of being a locum is just being able to travel. So you can travel to areas that you've never been, and then you stay there for 3 to 6 months. So you get to do all the local things. Maybe you're 312s or 410s. So you have 3-4 days off a week where you can travel around that city or that state, and then you move on to the next. Another benefit is just being able to meet our colleagues and meet other people. As everybody knows, anesthesia is a really small community. There's only about 60,000 practicing CRNAs. I think there's 70,000 or so licensed, but this community becomes so small once you get out into the world and you're actually practicing anesthesia. And when you go do locums and you move from facility to facility, you meet so many people. Before you know it, you know most people in anesthesia. Being a locum is a unique position because you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Meaning, even when I went to locum positions, you've never been inside the hospital. You may not have any idea who works there, people's names, where the bathroom is, the break room, where supplies are. So it's extremely uncomfortable when you go to a new position. So just being open-minded is really important, and just being understanding that it is going to be very uncomfortable, usually for a few days. But I do always tell people, and even myself, when you go somewhere new, at the end of the day, you're putting 1 patient to sleep and doing anesthesia. You may not be using the same machine as you did last time, but you're probably going to have a Mind Ray, a Omeda, or a Draeger machine. You're going to have propofol, sucks, rocuronium. You're going to have all the supplies that you typically have, and most ORs are built the same. You're going to be doing similar surgeries, and again, you're doing anesthesia on 1 patient. So if you can keep that in mind and keep an open mind when you go to new locations, know that it will get better. Take it a day at a time. The most hesitant I was starting any new locum position is just not knowing where to go, what to do, how to do it when you go to a new facility. Also, the trust isn't there. When you work at a place full-time or you've been practicing at a location even for several weeks, you usually have the trust of the circulators, pre-op, post-op, the surgeons, anyone who's in the OR. But when you're a brand new face, everybody's watching you and making sure you're competent. No matter how many times you say, like, I'm gonna do a great job for you guys, until you actually do that, I feel like sometimes you aren't believed or trusted. So building that trust in a short amount of time is really important, but also know that you will do that. Mistakes still will happen, but just be prepared. Just as we learned in school, and as you've been a provider in a W-2 setting, permanent or locum position, always have your plan B, your plan C, have everything ready. And also communicate with the staff in the room. It's really important if you have a circulator that is new to you, or maybe you're new to the facility, just tell them how you do things and how you want them to do things if we do have to go to plan B with airway algorithm, or plan C and what you would like their role to be. So communication is really important. I think in school you do get a lot of great experiences, but remember, school is only usually 2 years of clinical, sometimes it's 2.5 years, which gives you a great variety of practice settings as well as practice experience. But nothing really prepares you for being out on your own, and having that experience and just building on that experience is really important. And it goes back to making sure you are ready for your different plans. You guys know what you need to do to help a patient, to solve a problem. You guys have that knowledge and those skills, and just be confident that you are going to go down that algorithm and you're going to use all your skills and education to do what's best for the patient. It's really important for CRNAs, whether you're brand new as a new grad, maybe you've worked a couple years, or you're a veteran CRNA who's practiced 15, 20 years. It's important to think about a handful of things, and those are: what shifts am I looking for? Are you looking for 5/8s, 4/10s, 3/12s, 24s, 1 week on, 1 week off, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off? What are you looking for with shifts? Something else to look at is pay. Is pay extremely important to you, or is it lower level on the priority list? So am I seeking a position that pays the most money, or am I seeking now a position that has better shifts, has a better location, and a better practice? So that brings me now to practice setting. Are you looking for a specific type of practice? Are you looking for solo practice where you're the only provider in the hospital or the ASC? Are you looking for a facility where it's an ACT model and there's anesthesiologists? Are you looking for a supervised model? Or are you looking for independent practice where you and a group of CRNAs tackle the OR and you guys are responsible for blocks, OB, peds, covering the ER, you're covering all call at night and weekends? What are you really looking for as far as a practice setting? And then I think really number 4, which there's others, but let's just talk about location. Are you looking for a metropolitan location? Are you looking for a big city? Or are you looking for a rural practice? So just kind of a recap: location, pay, shifts, and then the anesthesia model or anesthesia setting. I think those are really important factors to look at, whether you're new, experienced, or even a CRNA a long time. Those are things that you can look at and really decipher: where's my priority stand, and how can I see this facility either meeting those needs, or do I need to look somewhere else at another location? Yeah, I should expect some nerves. It's always nerve-wracking walking into a new facility. Hopefully you've gotten first aid instructions so you at least know where to park, know what door to enter, but also where to change scrubs. Are scrubs provided, or are you wearing your own scrubs? Those are important things to know. And then once you've figured all that out, finding where pre-op is, how really the flow of the OR is. Do the CRNAs and the staff, that they go prepare the room and then go to pre-op? Do you go to pre-op first and then prep your room? What time are patients rolling? Meaning, what time are we going to the OR? Are they rolling at 7 or 7:25? Are there any particulars with who I'm covering today? Is there a particular surgeon and he likes XYZ? We can definitely make room for that. So just figuring out and talking to other CRNAs, even the circulators or nurses, anyone that can help communicate. The scrub techs are really good. If you're in a room and you don't know a surgeon or the practice, they're really good at saying, hey, we typically do beach chair for this, or we're lateral, or they can give you really good insight and details on the case and how things typically go, because they are there and they work in that particular room or that particular service line. So just communicating with everyone is going to be really important for your success. Having a work-life balance is really important. It's important for me, but it may not be as important for. So again, it's about priorities. Is your priority to pay off student loans, pay off debt? Maybe just having a goal is the most important thing. If you are not focused on a family life balance or maybe a balance outside of work, having a goal in mind is really important. I've seen several CRNAs not have a goal in mind and they burn out really fast. But if you're going to hit the ground running, meaning you're going to work 50, 60, 70, 80-hour weeks, have a goal in mind. I want to get to this number financially, or I want to pay off this debt, or maybe I want to do this for 16, 18 months. Have a goal in mind. So every day that you wake up and every week and every month that you conquer, you're getting closer to that goal rather than it being just open-ended, because that's where I see a lot of providers burning out. For years, we actually worked on this book. It's called the Locum Guidebook, and it actually takes experiences from new grads, experienced CRNAs, attorneys, CPAs, and these stories from all these different people, how to set up your CV, how to look for locum positions, how to look for permanent positions. It's actually 44, 45 pages. All profits go to PAC. We've now donated over $2,000 to PAC. So that's a really important and valuable resource that you guys can grab on our website at crnalocumjobs.com/shop. But in addition to that, I would recommend CRNAs find a good accounting firm, which we have resources for. So just let us know if you need help with that, as well as an attorney. If you guys have need for contract review, finding a good attorney is really important. But to set up your LLC, you can do that on your own, but also an accounting firm can do that. That's going to be your number one. So you set up an LLC, then you'll get your EIN, you'll go to your bank to set up a business banking account, and then you'll be set to begin doing business. I think it is important to get some type of payroll service, whether that's Gusto or you can use QuickBooks or accounting software, maybe that is supplied by your accounting firm or isn't. Those are really important softwares to have just to keep up with your books, your profit, losses, and your deductions. I'm not a CPA or an attorney, but please reach out to us. We've had a lot of experience with thousands of providers, as well as running a company and just personally working as a CRNA as a 1099 that we can share with you, and we can share those experiences and resources. Being able to find good lodging is important, as well as travel, whether that be you're driving your own vehicle, you're getting a rental car, or maybe you're flying into an assignment. I would say it was pretty typical 10, 20 years ago for agencies to set that up for each provider before we had access to an iPhone, an Airbnb, Furnish Finder, VRBO. But now typically hospitals are giving either a stipend, which means they're giving you money to supply your own travel and lodging without receipts, or they're doing it as a reimbursement. So you will supply the receipts for the travel, meaning you will supply the receipt for the rental car, the airfare, and then you will supply a receipt for lodging. So you'll supply those to the hospital, but I always see Airbnbs and Furnish Finder working out really well for locums. I would say over 95% of our full-time locums utilize a short-term rental versus a hotel. But we still do see some locums maybe that fly in for just 3 or 4 days utilizing a local hotel. I personally haven't had any travel issues while being a locum, but I know since we've worked with over 2,000 CRNAs now in the locum company at CRNA and Locum Jobs, we've had plenty of horror stories when it comes to lodging. I think some of those include either rooms being extremely dirty or pest, but just working with a provider and having options, which Airbnb has so many options, as well as Furnish Finder and hotels. We've been able to, and the provider's been able to quickly get into something that's nice or at least acceptable until they figure out plan B or plan C. But you guys, let us know if you have any horror stories when it comes to flights, travel, or even a rental car. Tell us below in the comments. We're excited to look at those. Yeah, I think it's really important whether you guys go with us at CRNA Locum Jobs or any other agency. It's just important to know who your point of contact is and ensure that person is knowledgeable and available. That's really important. I know here at CRNA Locum Jobs, we have 8 CRNAs that actually recruit and are the point of contacts for different regions. And those guys and girls are available 24/7. If you have a problem, you call them, you call their personal phone, and they're gonna answer. I think that's where other agencies don't have that value, is that the recruiter maybe works 8 to 4:30 or 8 to 5, and they're not available on the weekends or after hours when CRNAs actually need to talk to somebody. As you guys know, shifts are for CRNAs are 7 to 3, 7 to 5, 7 to 7. So typically our team is working after those CRNAs get off of work. They're having those phone calls. Another thing you can ask the agency is just how typically the process is. I mean, from your presentation to getting on the assignment, maybe ask them if there are other CRNAs there that you can speak with. Ask how payroll goes, how am I paid, what should I expect, what should I expect about an extension. Just kind of ask basic things like that and see if they can provide you the answers that you're looking for. And again, if you guys are not working with us, but you do have questions about other agencies or how they are doing things, I'm happy to help answer those if you guys want to reach out. I think right now, whether you go locum as a 1099 or you're find a 1099 permanent position, it's one of the most important things you can do. I know you guys are super smart. You've gone to school to get your master's or your doctorate in anesthesia. You guys are really smart people, and I know it seems overwhelming to get an LLC, to set up business banking, to worry about payroll, S-corps, all these things. But with a little bit of education, there's so much out there with podcasts and YouTube and books, and just us being a resource or reaching out to an accounting firm. Go 1099. It's the best thing you can do for your finances, is being a provider. The IRS allows us as CRNAs to be 1099 contractors, and I would do it. There's no question. And the company has worked with thousands of CRNAs, and I maybe know 2 or 3 that have gone back to a W-2 job, and that's been because of family circumstances. But it's so important. If you guys go 1099, I always hear this: they wish they would have done it sooner, and I'll never go back to W-2. So if you have questions about being 1099 or going locum, please reach out to me, Michael Marsh, at michael@CRNALocumjobs.com, or any of our team. You can find our team on our About section and all their information at www.CRNALocumjobs.com.